Tobe Leesenby, Sheriff of Carroll County, and I'm going to ask him just a few short questions. And the first one is, Tobe, everybody wants to know why you called off the search for Libby and Abby.
Sure. First of all, that was not a individual decision made by me, but rather we had a meeting amongst several emergency responders, which included police, fire, EMS, and also other community volunteers. And the consensus was that to make a temporary stop of that search and then restart the search early the next morning. I do want to stress that even though we formally had stopped that search, there were still people out there searching throughout the night, and we were aware of that, particularly community volunteers. And we were not in a position that we could tell everyone to stop. And basically, we made it optional. If they wanted to stop, they could, and get some rest and come back out the next morning, as many did, to start that search over or up again. And so that was not an individual decision, as many may feel, but rather a decision made by several community members and emergency responders.
And were there also some fire officials and some LE out there that night as well?
Yes, that's correct. There were many, particularly firefighters and law enforcement, that were actually out there looking.
Okay. And then also, just to be clear for my own understanding, the family did tell you that this did often happen with the girls. They sometimes didn't come home. They might be at friends, and that Libby was wanting to go to her mom, so they may have ran off.
We had spoken to, obviously, the family a number of times as far as other locations the girls could have went to, and we had learned as far as their history, whether it be they went to each other's homes and not communicated that to other family members. That had happened in the past, but there had been times where the girls had been elsewhere and had not told, whether it be parents or grandparents or any other family members, where exactly they were.
Okay, and then on to the next question. When asked if the community was in any immediate danger, your answer was no. Can you explain that, please?
Sure. I've been with this agency in particular for 32 years, and so I had a lot of feeling and real faith that we were not dealing with an ongoing event as far as someone going out there and committing this crime again. One thing I do want to speak to, though, is that more of a concern for me as a law enforcement leader was that we obviously did not want to create a large amount of paranoia and concern where individuals or families would have to constantly, if you will, be looking over their shoulder all the time, wondering, who's that behind me? That's no way for a community to live, in my opinion. And so, we wanted to convey that message that this was solely related to, or isolated, if you will, to these individuals involved. And so there was no factual information to believe that we were dealing with an ongoing situation with someone out there in the community. So I felt assured that, and still feel that way, honestly, that this is something that the community is safe in what's taking place in Carroll County.
Okay, and
You know, who's that behind me? That's no way for a community to live, in my opinion. And so, you know, we wanted to convey that message that this was solely related to, or isolated, if you will, to these individuals involved. And so there was no factual information to believe that we were dealing with an ongoing situation with someone out there in the community. So I felt assured that, and still feel that way, honestly, that you know, this is something that the community is safe in what's taking place in Carroll County.
okay, and then when Anthony Greeno interviewed you, he asked you if Ron Logan was cleared, and you said he is not cleared but covered. Can you explain what covered means?
Sure. Covered means that at some point an investigator has met with that individual or individuals, as the case may be, and in essence gained alibi information as to their whereabouts and their dealings during this particular time frame, particularly those 2 days involved of February 13th and 14th, 2017. And so we cover that information in determining what was actually happening in that individual's life. Where were they? Were they at work? Were they at church? Were they at school? Were they shopping? You know, where was that individual? So that's covered. The concern is, you know, we've discussed before amongst ourselves as investigators, if we come out and say we've cleared someone, the concern is that when we go into the courtroom, a very good attorney representing that individual could easily say, you know, so-and-so was cleared by the police, if in fact we ever said that. So-and-so was cleared on such and such date. And if we come out and say somebody is cleared, there's an opportunity there that individual, that seed of doubt will be planted with the jury. And so there's also the opportunity that we may have to circle back around on someone and come back around and whether it be re-interview or look at them again, we want to leave that door open so that if we have to do that, we can. Of course, it's up to each individual and whether or not they want to talk to us again. But the main concern in cover versus clear is we don't want to enter into the courtroom where this will ultimately take place and for any seed of doubt to be planted by an attorney representing that defendant.
Okay, so